Hey, what's up everybody? Jumpin here, and today I'm going to be continuing my series, All My Builds. Today's going to be the final one. I have now done every class. The last one to do is the Vanguards. Now the Vanguards are by far one of my favorite classes in the game. I would say Infiltrators, Engineers, Sentinels, and Vanguards are probably my favorite. I don't know. I like them all. The only one I don't like that much is Adepts. Or Adepts. My bad, guys. Adepts. Anyway, but the first thing I do want to say is that thank you for all the support about my new mic. I'm glad that it's good for you guys now, and it's good for me. So I will definitely be using this mic from now on. The other thing is, if you want to see any gameplay from any of these characters, just look at the description or the annotations if you're on your PC, and you can find gameplays. And I have a ton of gameplays with most of these people. Some not as many, some more than usual. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, starting today, we're going to be doing the Human Vanguard, which was always kind of not that great in this game until recently when they gave him back his demo power. In the demo to this game, he was extremely good because he was just amazing at killing phantoms, and phantoms are by far one of the worst enemies in the games. The only other enemies that would probably be worse than them, are classified as worse, would be possibly Banshees. So, Human Vanguard now is back to his former glory, the Phantom Killing Machine. Alright, so, let's go ahead and I'll show you my gun. I do recommend the Talon if you have it at 10, but if you do not have this gun at 10, don't trip too much. Just go for the Carnifex. I like the Carnifex as well, just because you want 200% recharge speed. That's very important, guys. 200%. Keep that in mind. You really do need that with the Human Vanguard. He's more about powers than shooting. So, just remember that. Alright, now moving on for the build. Alright, I like radius on the charge. Very, very important. You have to get this, otherwise it can be very glitchy, and sometimes you will not hit the enemies. But when you have this, you'll always hit them, and you'll always stun them, which is great. Next up is Power Synergy, which got the buff. It's 40% now, so Nova is way stronger. And the final one is going to be Barrier. Now, I like Shockwave at 3. That's me personally, though. I do like it at 3, so that if I'm doing a Adept team, I can go ahead and explode enemies from a distance for my teammates. I like that aspect of Shockwave. I also like it just in case I'm fighting a boss like a Banshee and I don't want to charge in and fight it like that, which could be foolish. So I like it. But if you don't want it, you don't need it. You really don't need it for this build. It's really up to you. Alright, now for Nova, force and damage. And I like power recharge just for that former demo Vanguard amazingness. But Half Blast is better for your team. If you're going to do some type of an exploding team, this power is the best, just because this is by far the best detonating power in the game, because you'll just be able to charge, explosion, Nova, explosion, Nova, explosions. That's a lot of explosions. So Half Blast is better in that aspect. But for you to run around and be able to just murder everything yourself, you need the power recharge because you want your Nova to be as strong as possible. And then the final one is going to be Pierce. This is amazing. It's 100% more damage to barrier, shields, and armor targets, so that's awesome. For alliance training, I like damage and capacity, power damage. Now, if you don't want the shockwave, you can just go ahead and get the weapons damage. But like I said, this guy's more about powers than weapons. So why not just get the shockwave, have it for some backup, just in case you're playing with the right set of people, and just skip the weapons damage, because you'll shoot. The only thing I ever shoot with this guy is probably Guardians, and sometimes I'll shoot other enemies and bosses. That's about it. You don't really have to have the weapons damage. Alright, now for the fitness, all shields. All shields. Just because you need the shields. He's real flimsy, he's a human, that's the biggest downside to him. Alright, now moving on for the Drell, which unfortunately, the Drell Vanguard I have here is my former build, not the build I recommend. Keep that in mind. And guys, keep that in mind. This is not the build I recommend. I have to state that like that because I know someone out there in the comments are going to say, Jumpin', do you know that cluster nades are good? Yes, I know cluster nades are good. But the thing about it though is that this particular build was from a while back when I did my pool build. And I know I can't say that word right, but whatever. But anyway, this build is that build. So unfortunately, this is not the right build, but I will link you in the description / in the annotations to the proper build. So if you want to check that out, by all means, please. Now for this pool build though, this is pretty much I'm gonna be using the Piranha and the Alkalite on this, just because the Alkalite pistol is really your main thing you want. You're going to be primarily using this for normal enemies so that you can pull them and then you can charge them and explode them. The Piranha's there just for bosses and armor targets that you can't normally pull. Alright, now moving on. Now for the build, charge, I have radius, power synergy. That is because in this particular version of the build, it's all about explosions. So that's the whole idea. Weapon synergy is better for the Drell normally though, just because it's better just to charge and use your weapon, and then the grenades that's just backup. So, and my other build will consist of more of that. Now for the final one is barrier. You're gonna see this every single time primarily. Now for pull, I like radius, lift damage for this build because this build's more about DPS than anything else, and then duration and combo. Now for the Drell Assassin, I like the damage and capacity, power damage, and weapons damage. And finally for fitness, all shields and health, because his shields are whack, but his health is okay. But like I said guys, if you want the cluster nade version, just look at the description, you'll find it. Alright, now moving on to the Asari. Now the Asari is amazing. It really is. It's so much better now because of the update. I was planning on maybe releasing a video for it, but I never got around to doing it. And mainly because I just don't like playing the way that you can play with the Asari. The first thing you want to do is strap on, obviously you want to strap on grenade capacity 5. And once you have grenade capacity 5 on, you will just have a billion nades. Now this is all about the grenades personally. But the gun I recommend is the Rieger Carbine. Recharge time is not that important. The only thing you got to worry about is your charge and dying. But charge is the only thing you're going to be using for a power. So use a Rieger Carbine. It's a great gun for a Vanguard. It's probably one of the best Vanguard guns in the entire game, to be honest. So keep that in mind. Alright, now for the build. I like charge, I like radius, power synergy once again, and barrier. For the lift grenades, now this is where it gets really, really overpowered, is the fact that when you charge, you get the 40% more power damage. So what I like is I like damage, 30%, max grenades, because there's no point to ever go for duration, and damage from radius. If you look at the damage on it, that is 1687 with 6.5 meter radius, and you got to remember, that's not even counting this, the power synergy. So they're so powerful. The lift grenades are incredibly powerful, especially if you strap on a power amp 4, they're even stronger. It's really crazy. Alright, now for the Asari Justicar, I like damage and capacity, power damage, and weapons damage. And for fitness, I actually, okay, this is messed up, this is not right. For fitness, I recommend just shields. I don't know what I was smoking here, but I went for martial arts and power synergy. I guess because technically, you could actually get melee kills with her. It's not that hard, but I really wouldn't recommend this, honestly, guys. I would just recommend shield recharge and fitness expert. So don't ignore what you see on the screen. I recommend these. Alright. Now moving on for the Krogan, which is by far the best Vanguard in the game. One thing you guys gotta remember is that the Vanguard comes with the Vanguard glitch. If you are not hosting the game, then you can get into the Vanguard glitch. And you do not want that to happen. Now the Krogan is the only Vanguard in this game that you can really play off host and still not really go into the Vanguard glitch. The reason why is because you can go into the Vanguard glitch. It can happen. But it's a lot less likely because he's so tanky. He can take so much damage. So the chances of dying and charging is a lot less likely. And that's what the Vanguard glitch is, guys, is when you die and charge at the same time. Alright, now there's a lot of guns you can use on him. I have the Talon on him right now. I really like the Talon on him. It's a really good gun for him. But I would also definitely recommend, the best gun I think is the Rieger Carbine, by far. Rieger Carbine's the best gun for him. And the second best gun, or, well, maybe not the second best, but another really good gun is the Piranha. And then the final gun, like I said, is the one I had equipped, which is the Talon. So those three guns, in my opinion, are probably the three best for him overall. Now moving on for the build. This is the correct version of the build. I like Radius, Weapon Synergy because he's all about tanking, Barrier, which is pretty much a given. Now for Barrier the Power, I like Barrier Strength, Power Synergy, and Power Recharge. You don't want this to penalize you too much. You want to be able to charge and stay alive as much as possible with him. Now for Krogan Battlemaster, I like Damage and Capacity, Power Damage, and Weapons Damage. And for Rage, I just like all shields. Just all shields. Why not? But he is amazing. Alright, moving on to the Phoenix Vanguard, which is actually not that bad. And probably, I don't know. I take that back. They came up with an update a while back. What they did was that they fucked with the smash recharge time again. So now it's back to what it used to be, which is 2.4 seconds. Or 2.46 seconds, that is. And that's with 200%. So the problem is that you can't really use smash and charge a lot at the same time. The recharge, the recharge time is going to get you killed. It used to be 1.8 seconds. And that was so quick. You could smash, set them up for an explosion, charge them, blow them up, melee them, shoot them. It was really great. But because of some of the nerfing that they did, he's not as good as he used to be. So that's something you got to remember, guys. Alright, so for the weapons I recommend the Alkalite pistol with melee stunner and extended magazine. This is the gun you primarily want to use against infantry, against smaller enemies. Charge it up, shoot it, take the shields down, charge them, melee them, all that good stuff. Really, really great. And then against bosses, the Piranha. Piranha's great against bosses. Is one of the best guns in the game for killing bosses. So that's really the point. And if you look, I have 195% recharge, which is really, really good to have two guns on like this. Alright, now for the build. I like charge. I know I keep saying that, but every single one of these guys, they have charge. Alright, Radius, Power Synergy, which, honestly, I would not probably go for this, just because I haven't played with this guy since the nerf. So, maybe I would recommend this, but Weapons Synergy would be pretty good too. I don't know, I guess Power Synergy is okay. Why not? Because, Smash is a great power, don't get me wrong. It's just that when I play with him now, I probably would not smash as often as I used to. Unless I decided I was just going to stand behind walls and smash. Alright, now for, the final one is Barrier, of course. Now for Smash, I like the BC, because this will set up combos and increase the force and damage. I like the force and damage. I like the impact radius. Armor damage is really good too. It's up to you what you want. I like the more radius. That's just me though. But if you want the armor damage, go for it. Now for Phoenix training, I like damage and capacity, power damage, and the most important one is pistols and shotguns. This reduces the weight of the Alkalite to be 0, and it reduces the weight of the Piranha shotgun by 25%. And that is where the 195% comes in at. So keep that in mind. Alright, now for the fitness, all melee. Just because his melees are great. They are fantastic. And when you play with him, you want to keep the Alkalite equipped for the melee bonus. And you want to use Strength Enhancer equipment for the 100% more damage. Because his melees are boss. They really are. And they give you more power damage, which is amazing as well. So keep that in mind. Alright, for the final one now is going to be the N7 Slayer, which, I don't know how I feel about the Slayer. Out of all the new N7 people, he's probably my least favorite. I never play with him. He's pretty flimsy. Phase Disruptor's kind of cool. The slash move is whatever. That's just how I feel. But it is fun, flying around and meleeing and such. That's great. But overall, I just don't know. I wouldn't recommend him that much. Alright, but if you're going to play with him, I do recommend the Talon pistol, just because it's a light pistol. You can put the melee stunner on with extended barrel, or you can even put piercing on it if you want. It just really doesn't matter. It depends on what you're going to actually use. but keep that in mind. But yeah, you do want the melee bonus just so that you can do more melee damage, of course. Now for the build, I like charge, radius, power synergy, which is great for the phase disruptor, barriers. For phase disruptor, I like damage, effective blast or efficient blast, which lets you shoot it 3 times, and then shield damage, just because my point is to take down the shields really quick, charge, knock them down, kill phantoms, all that kind of good stuff. Now for the slash move, I leave it at 3, but I probably wouldn't even, I don't know, actually I would recommend to keep this on just for doing combos with your teammates. If you want to do some combos, keep that in mind. Now for the Slayer, I like damage and capacity and power damage. And for the fitness, all melees, once again, because his melees are really good. His light melees allow, I don't know how much damage resistance they give you, but it's so much that you're pretty much almost impossible to kill. So if you're gonna use melees, use his light melee. I mean, you could fight an army of Geth, and it takes them forever to kill you. I mean, they do no damage to you. So that's really the point of this guy, is that from distance, you're gonna want to use phase disruptor to knock enemies down. Well, to knock off their shields and to do a lot of damage. Slash is for your teammates. Charge is just to get in close. And then the final one is just your melees. Your melees are for close range combat. Don't really need to shoot. You just do not need to shoot. You can just melee and use phase disruptor and charge the whole time. And that's really the best way to play with them. Alright, so that's been all the Vanguards. I really hope you enjoyed it. And this is my final video. Not for Mass Effect. I will do some more Mass Effect stuff in the future. Don't worry. But this is my final all my builds video, which I'm really glad I did this. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And that's what I like to do, guys. I like to help people. I like to help people get better at games. I like to help people get better at life. And all that kind of good stuff like that. That's just me. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm the greatest person ever, or I'm a good person. But that's just somewhere in my heart. I like to help people out. And that's why most of you guys are my subscribers. And I really appreciate it. I love all my subscribers. No homo. But I do love all my subscribers. And I will do anything for you guys, depending on what you want. So, keep that in mind. Alright guys, but like I said, I hope you enjoy this. Please like this video. That would really help me out. Check out all the other videos in the playlist. I have a playlist of this if you want to watch that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also remember that if you look at the description or in the annotations, you can find gameplays to any of these characters if you want to watch the gameplay / see the better Drell build. Remember, there's a better build in the description. But besides that, guys, you guys have a nice day. Please like this video.